Good morning, families. I wanted to talk about writing a little bit in kindergarten. So you'll learn more about this at conferences, but when I went to school, the teacher wrote a sentence on the board and all the students copied it. Well, they tracked those students through my generation, through college, and saw that they had a more challenging time developing their voice as a writer and also writing in different length sentences. So they wrote a lot of 5-word sentences, which makes their essays sound super choppy. So what they started doing is teaching kids how to be authors and illustrators themselves. I do a modified version of something we call Writer's Workshop, where the students are writing independently. It is by far the hardest skill for them to learn every single year, and I know that it can be really challenging to watch our students struggle and watch your child struggle, but they're building grit. You can't learn how to persist through problems if there aren't ever problems presented to you. So I use this skill all year long, even like writing their name. Now almost all the students know how to write their name, but at the beginning it was super hard for them. So if they are coming to you upset about writing Writer's Workshop, just remind them like, hey, remember how it was so hard for you to learn how to write your name, and now you can write your name so easily? This is the same. You're going to learn how to do this as well. So I know you don't have this paper that we use for Writer's Workshop, but you can use notebook paper, or you can use the back side of any of the pages we send home that they do daily. This could be used for homework, especially if they know all of their letter and letter sounds and all of their sight words. You're obviously not going to be practicing letter and letter sounds and sight words for homework since they know all of them, so they can be applying their skills. So in trimester 1, we do personal narrative. A narrative is a story. A personal narrative is something that happened to them. So they can't talk about going to Mars or taking their dinosaur for a walk. Let's say they want to write, I went to the park. So again, this would be in lieu of practicing your letter sounds, and sight words. If they just wrote a sentence a day, you could check off those categories on the homework. So you're going to ask your student, what do you want to write about? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, what did you do today? Did you read a story? Did you go on your Chromebook? Did you go to the park? A lot of times they call our playground the park, so if they're ever talking about that, that's what they mean. We didn't leave campus to go to the park. They just call that the playground because it looks like a park because it has a play structure. So they want to write, I went to the park. So a lot of times they are waiting for me to tell them what to say. And if they don't know their sounds, then I am sitting with them and helping them sound it out a little bit more. But if they know all their letter and letter sounds, they need to transfer and like the role a little bit from like waiting for me to do it or waiting for you to sound out the words to them sounding out the words. And it's super frustrating, I know. But just keep at it. They will learn, I promise you. And then it's so cool for you can see the little light go on in their brain and their eyes, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can do it. And it's such a fun feeling. So keep at it. So the sentence they're going to write is, I went to the park. So I is a sight word. That should be written correctly. Then the next word in our sentence is went. So you're going to have them sound it out. And this is where they're going to wait for you, and they're going to say, I don't know how to sound it out. And you're going to say, let's sound it out together. But you need to do the sounds first. So when we sound out words in my class, we use our segmenters. So we're going to stretch the word out. Went, wah, W. Say it, do your finger space. It's in between a word. Wah, e, wah, n. Went. We end with a clap. T. Let's say they didn't do this N. They just did W-E-T, which spells wet. We went to the park. That is totally fine. Honestly, they aren't going to be able to do all of the sounds right now. There's going to be diphthongs, which is a really funny word. It means like O-I. When O-I is together, it says oi. Or they might hear a digraph, which is another funny word. Like S-H is a digraph. You don't say you say sh when you see S and H together. They don't know those spelling patterns yet. They're not expected to know them yet. So if those come up in a word and they're like, how do you write this sound? Just say, oh, if you don't know this sound, just go ahead and skip it and write the sounds that you do know. Because some of this stuff they're not learning until first grade, so how could they know it? You could introduce it to them a little bit later. You can start telling them like, oh, when you hear ow, it's O-U or O-W. And then in first grade, at the end of kindergarten and first grade, they'll learn when is an O-U, when it is an O-U, when it is an O-W. But for now, while they're just learning, if they don't know what the sound is, instead of went, that's totally fine. I went to. To is a sight word. They should know how to spell that. They can even do our little chants. T-O, 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 two. So I went to. Another finger space, the is a sight word. They should know a chant for that. It's T-H-E, T-H-E, the. I went to the, now we're coming up on the word park. What do you hear in park? And they might even be doing the hand motions we do for the letter sounds. That's okay. R. And what do you end your sentence with? A period. Park. And as you can see, I spelled park, P-R-K. They do not know our controlled words yet. They do not know when they hear R, it's an A-R. They just know that they hear R, and that's the letter R. And so, and again, I'm ending park with a C instead of a K because they don't know the spelling rules yet of when you hear K at the end of the word, how is it spelled? Those are first grade skills that they will learn at the end of kindergarten and in first grade. For right now, I am just so ecstatic if they can write I went to the park, and then they need to draw a picture that matches their word. So again, this can count as homework. It's an option for you to do, especially for my students who know all of their letters and letter sounds and all of their sight words, which is actually quite a few students. So I hope this was helpful. Reach out to me if you need any help, and I look forward to seeing you all at conferences soon.